Hey, what's going on, guys? All in channel, host Sega Forever here. Look, I know I'm a little bit late to this party, but I just watched Cobra Kai. Actually, watched it with my kids last weekend. Been following up on a couple of new episodes. Watched all of season one. Unfortunately, I don't have my kids, so I'm waiting for them to come back. And when they get back, then we'll finish up season two. But like I said, I'm a little bit late to this party, man. This thing, I believe, was on YouTube. And look, man, I don't really care for YouTube. I mean, I make these videos, that's about it. But I do all that I can not to give YouTube money, which is unfortunate for me, man, because I really did want to watch the show. I heard a lot of good things about it. And the people who I trust the most as far as reviews and having a similar taste as I do were talking about it, and I did want to check it out. So I was really happy when I got the announcement on email that Cobra Kai was coming to Netflix. And last week I took the time out to watch it all. And I gotta tell you, man, this movie, or excuse me, this TV show based on the movie Karate Kid. If you guys haven't seen that, it's an awesome movie from the 80s. Probably one of the first movies that I saw in theater. One of the first and only movies, man. I didn't get a chance to go watch a lot of movies when I was younger, which is probably why it makes such an impression on me. But I love the movie when I saw it in the theater. And then now we're like 20, 30 years later. Now it's 2020 and they've revisited the show. And I gotta say, it's totally awesome. Being, I guess one of the core things is like, how much has this show changed, and that's one of the things I love about these kind of shows when it's done right. It's a trip down memory lane for sure, and nostalgia factor is very high. But just the way that it's presented, everything about it is really well done. As a person who grew up during that time period, who saw the original movie in the theaters, man, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate how it's developed over time. I can appreciate the cult-like status that it's attained. And for the general population, man, that's familiar with the movie, I'm pretty sure you've heard people say wax on, wax off. No characters like Mr. Miyagi and Danielson and stuff like that. It's a part of the pop culture that's kind of integrated into pop culture. But with that being said, when they do some of these shows, man, it always doesn't work out. And I'm glad to say, happy to report that this is not the case. There's a lot of shows that have been coming out lately that reference the 80s or take place during different time periods in the past. And very few of them, man, actually do a really good job of it. Umbrella Academy, especially season 2, I was pleasantly surprised with that show. It was really well done. In fact, I liked the second season probably more than the first. I love both of them, but the second season I thought they took it to the next level. And giving us, it's a period piece, much like Stranger Things. They do a good job with that. Well, Cobra Kai, I would put that in that list. So if you like these type of movies or type of TV shows based on movies, definitely need to check this out. And for me personally, like, I'm not gonna give really a review, so don't worry about the spoilers, right? And I'm pretty sure you can do a lot of your own research online. But the one thing that I do want to point out, man, this is definitely a movie that's needed, especially in this, day and age. It's a movie definitely for this time. And the reason that I say that is because, like I said, the nostalgia factor is high, but there's a lot of stuff that they do in this movie that points directly to a lot of stuff that's wrong with movies nowadays, as far as the way they're written, the way characters are written. I'm going to bring this up, and some of you guys might not like it, but I'm just going to be honest, man. The get woke, go broke thing that's going on in Hollywood right now, that's inundating everything that's popular culture. This TV show, based on the movie Karate Kid, is something that's, like I said, that's needed because it takes that type of mentality, it takes that formula, and it just turns it upside down, and just crumples it up and it throws it out the window. And like I said, this is a movie that's needed for this time, man. And the reason why I say that is because the way things, when it comes to movies, the reason why people get bored of movies, or the reason why people don't watch movies, or why industries or franchises die, is the simple fact that things become formulaic, right? And regardless of what end of the spectrum you fall on politically, what end of the spectrum you fall on as far as ideology, there's one thing that has to happen, right? Movies, entertainment have to constantly be in flux and in cycle. Right, so in other words, if you were doing movies back in the 70s that had a certain type of ideology, a certain type of bent which was going on at the time, I'll even apply this within comic books, television shows, current events. Art sometimes reflects culture, right? Well, this is no different. And right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that, you know, I won't get too deep into detail on it. But I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Because I don't want to get this. Number one, I'm going to put this video out. I don't want to get a ban or get strikes or anything like that. And I don't want to take away from what this show is. It's just a well-written show. And there's a lot of humor, right? And there's a lot of character plot twists and stuff like that. It is basic in some instances, but there's like this underlying layer of thought that'll make you think about things, right? And it's simplistic in its delivery. I'm not gonna say that it's not. It's definitely a throwback movie. It's definitely a throwback movie to the 80s. But the great thing about this show is that it understands that, right? And like I said, it just doesn't. It's just not putting nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. They actually integrate that into the actual storyline and actually makes this show more than the sum of its parts. You know, I'm trying not to spoil it for you guys, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But when you guys watch it, you guys will understand. And like I said, you know, this show is needed because, you know, it's going against the grain. You know, it's going against what's the established mentality right now, the established ideology. You know, and you need that. You know, it's just like, hey, if you guys watch any television show, right? It's just like you're watching one of your favorite television shows, and then you have a guest star, right? Now, the bad thing about having guest stars on there, especially if the person's really popular, you know that he's going to have a critical role. So if it's like a detective show, right, 10 to 1, that guest star that's on there is either going to be, he's going to be an integral part of the story, or more or less the villain, right? And you see that coming a mile away. Right. And the only thing that keeps you watching is how the characters develop. Maybe there's going to be a plot twist. Maybe they do something a little bit different with the character or the actor that's outside of his scope that you weren't expecting. But this day and age, man, it's few and far between. And a lot of it, you know, it's like a lot of these writers and stuff like that, they write their feelings and they write their ideology. And they write what they think things should be as opposed to the way things are, you know. And even if even if I go along with them and their feelings and stuff like that, it's just not done well at all. And there's a lot of stuff within Cobra Kai that kind of pinpoints that exact point. Because I can tell you, regardless of what side you fall on ideologically, when it comes to culture war stuff, there's something for everybody in this. You can look at something that they're trying to present on the television or in this program, and you can, if you're on one side of the equation, you're like, okay, I get that. And if you're on the other side of the equation, you can get it as well. And that's the beauty of good writing. And that's a lot of stuff that's missing in these TV shows, man. These guys are just, you know, especially in pop culture, especially in science fiction, animation, all this stuff, you know, they're throwing all this stuff at you and just expect you to, you know, clap like a seal and just say, oh yeah, that was awesome. And then you know it's not awesome, it's trash. You know, I harp on this show all the time, on my channel all the time about Captain Marvel, man. It's probably one of the worst Marvel movies that's ever been done. You know, and it blows my mind that they had this string of hits, and because of their ideology, they let that movie, you know, turn into the way it was. You know, Captain Marvel is not a strong character or a strong woman because of her power and the things that she can do. They just basically made her like a dude, right? If you want to see like a good, strong female character, there's a show on Netflix called Avatar, okay? And it's The Last Airbender. It's the original cartoon that came out. There's The Legend of Korra, I think, is on there now, that you can watch. It's pretty good. But the first Avatar, just go look at the way they developed Katara. She's one of the characters in there. But if you definitely want to see a strong female character, you should look at Azula. And the reason why Azula in that show is a good, strong female character is because she's not only powerful and strong, and you know she's one of the stronger characters on the show, but it's because she's flawed, right? And through her flaws, you get to see her develop as a character, you know, and you get to understand some of her weaknesses, and you can identify with her. And that's the problem with a lot of the stuff that people write nowadays, man. They just make these people just flawless. And the reason why they make them flawless is because they think that's their archetypical type, you know, hero character. And that's not the way it is a lot of times, right? You know, these people are human, right? They have to make mistakes. But getting back on Cobra Kai, you know, you see a lot of that in there. And if you like the first Karate Kid, you'll be able to appreciate this even more. In fact, if you haven't seen the Karate Kid in a while, I would definitely recommend you watch this. They do, in the first episode, they do a brief, you know, synopsis of the entire series. I mean, the movie, the original movie. But it's good to go back and watch it because there's like so much stuff. I watched Cobra Kai with my kids, and I've gone back and rewatched it in my free time. because I've, you know, just little things that I missed, things that I didn't pick up, and I picked up the second, third time. And you know, when a show does that, man, that can take you deep, that you are discovering layers, man. It's a good show. Anyway, sorry, the video is 10 minutes, but I just wanted to add another video to my channel. Sorry, I haven't been doing stuff. And again, I do pop culture stuff on this channel. I know it's few and far between. But again, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think if you guys watched the show. Am I wrong? I mean, it might not be, you know, I guarantee it's not for everybody. But in this day and age when we're so starving for great entertainment and just good writing and good character development, and something that just doesn't hold your hand, something that's surprising, something that shocks you, in a lot of sense. Like I'm saying, if you have young kids, maybe you don't want them to watch that. That's the only probably thing I'll tell you. You know, my kids are teenagers now, but even some parts in there, I normally won't let them watch that. But some of that shock value that they give you in this show is part of what makes the show great. I will say that, because it's just not written for shock value, right? It's in the story for a particular reason, and I won't go any deeper because I don't want to spoil it. But you guys will see it when you watch it. Anyway, all in channel, host Sega forever. We out.